Hi everybody, thank you for joining me today. So we're going to be working on our Friday sketch, and we're using this Operation Right Home sketch right here. And when I saw it, I always like the stripes, like doing the different strips of paper, and I wanted to share this only because in the end I realized why I don't do it that often. It drives me nuts when I can't get it even, and I think I initially messed up only because I always like to have a base, and then I build up my sketch on top of that. And I think I probably should have just left it on the card base itself and done it directly to the card base. But, you know, you live and you learn. So right now, I'm just cutting up the strips of paper to equal the 4" by 1". And you need 5 strips. So I did one unique strip in the center, and then the next 2 were matching, and then the next 2 was a different pattern. So it was like 3 different patterns altogether. But we're doing 2 cards, so that's why I realized I had to cut some more, so that way I would have enough for each of our cards that we're doing today. Okay, and then once we got that laid out, we're going to go ahead and cut the focal image. And on this one, that's right. First I do the sentiment strip, which is 2.5 by 3/4. And then while we have it out, we're going to go ahead and cut the mat for that, which I just did 1/8 of an inch bigger, which would have been 2 5/8 by 7/8 if you do just 1/8 of an inch bigger. Just remember, whenever I do 1/8 of an inch, if you guys, if it's troublesome or you can't figure it out, just do 1/4 inch. So if it's at 2.5, you're going to do 2 3/4 for your mat, okay? Do whatever is easiest for you. So here I'm just figuring out my layout, what order I want to put it in, and making sure that I like how everything is looking on, as far as, the sketch itself. So once I got all that laid out, then we're going to go ahead and start working on laying everything down. And this part here is what I'm talking about. Like, I really don't know the best method, and I kind of wish they would say, like, oh, you just need 1/8 of an inch between each of your papers, or 1/4 of an inch between each of the papers. However it is to get the perfect layout that they have in the sketch itself, because I always wind up having to move stuff. I wind up tearing the paper and hoping that when I lay it back down, it's going to be covered by the strips of paper. It's very stressful. I don't know why I'm drawn to these, but by the time I'm done, I'm over it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So we're just laying this one out, and I really struggle with the second card when I go to lay that down. For some reason, I think in the end, like, the 3 in the middle wind up, they're basically touching. There's no real space in between at all, and I just keep moving. I don't know if that's ever happened to you guys, where you just, at some point, you just have to go, oh well, it's handmade, and all the little quirks everyone's got to love, right? Because it's handmade. So here we go with the second card. On this one, I wanted to do more blues and the browns on the background. Even though, not the base paper, I guess you would say base paper, it has pinks and yellows and greens. It's just a very fun and festive card, I think. And it could work for male or female. So you're going to see here, I'm going to go put the last piece down, and I realize I made it too tight. So then I got to move everything. So I have to peel it all back up. Annoying. And then as I go to lay it down, I realize, oh wow, And I'm seriously, I so don't feel like pulling it back up, I glue it down. Crack myself up sometimes, I swear. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and put the main focal piece together. The only thing I haven't done is the 2 3/4 by 3 1/4 cutout, which is where the image is going to go, because I wanted to you know, get all that done off screen so that you guys weren't sitting there watching me having to go through and stamp all that. And then my foam tape, I'm just going to put on the back and attach that to the center of the card. And on each of the card fronts, I have either a teacup with a saucer or a mug, and we're going to color in the top so it looks like it has either tea or coffee inside, and the sentiments kind of coincide with that. And what I did was, because we had a little bit of lifting with the image, the focal image, I did put foam tape on one end of the sentiment and then just put the ATG tape on the other side. And I'm just using the ink on the top of the lid of my Distress ink, which is, I believe I used the walnut stain. And on this one, the teacup one, I did put a little bit of the stain over where the sentiment is, but on the second one, I don't do that. I just put the color on the inside where the drink is. And then we're going to go ahead and attach that. Now, as I was putting this all together, I wasn't sure exactly how I was going to finish this off. I didn't know if I was going to do splatters, if I wanted to do sequins. I really wasn't 100% sure what I was going to do. But as I finish up this card, it does come to my mind that I want to do the Nouveau drops. So on this one, I'm going to wind up doing, excuse me, the Crystal Drops gloss in the dark walnut, and then on the other one I use the green, which is right here. I use the Crystal Drops bottle green, and we're just, once again, on this one I decided to use the foam tape all over the sentiment, and on the very end I'm going to double up the foam tape, because, you know, we have the image itself is lifted up, so to keep it all one level I do have to double up on the side. And then any little bit that's hanging off the edge, I just trim with my scissors, and then any foam that was sticking out I just kind of shoved back in. And any of the strips that are pulling up, I just use some of the art glitter glue to, you know, help it lay back down. So here's our two cards, and like I said, I really wasn't sure how I wanted to do it. On the one I was thinking maybe Distress, and then I just said, you know what, let's just do 3 Nouveau drops on one, and then on the other one we're going to go ahead and use the walnut. And there you have it. There's our cards completed. And then if you wanted to take it up a level, just like a little notch, where the drink is, take your clear Wink Stella and color that in, and then it's like you got a sparkly drink. Alright, so thank you guys so much for joining me today. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and share button, and at the very end I will have links to previous sketch videos, and I will see you guys actually with our next video, which will be this Sunday. It's another retake on a technique for a layout, and that's going to be fun. We're going to be using embossing folders with the ink like we did this past Tuesday. So if you haven't seen that, make sure you check it out on the channel, and I will see you guys with our next video. Have a great weekend.